What the f?
I'm here at Motorsports Limited Auto Group. We got Brian here, the owner.
How you doing?
And he was very gracious enough to give me this Ciera wagon for free.
Guy had a bad tranny. I was gonna go ahead and do the tranny work to it and all that, and just got busy with everything else. So, you know what? Might as well put it to good use and give it to someone who's gonna do something good with it.
The other problem with this vehicle is it's not running anymore. When Brian bought it, it was running. It would only drive in third, but he hasn't touched it in a while, so it could have been a fuel pump that went. But I'll be able to dig into that, whatever it is, to get it running again. Well, that's interesting. It doesn't want to start even with fuel. All right, so I have not came near the Cutlass Cruiser, the Cutlass Ciera wagon, in a few weeks. I've just been busy. But I went to the junkyard today because there was quite a few vehicles in there that I needed parts from. And as it would happen, there was a Lumina sedan around the same year, the same 3100, the L82, and it had a good belt tensioner and a good serpentine belt. That's how cheap I am buying a used serpentine belt, but it was $5. And you can see what matters. No cracking, good grooves. Looks like a recent belt. So that was $5. This was $15 for the tensioner. And if you remember in the previous video when I bought this car, the heck is this? The belt tensioner, which is somewhere on the ground out here, and I think I might have threw it away by now, was just totally cracked. The pulley was cracked. It was seized. I don't know what was going on with it. Not worth trying to figure it out. Buy another one for $15. So it's just one bolt, which I left the old one right down here. Throw that bad boy back in. The other thing I got, which actually I'm going to throw that in before trying the start as well, is a ignition control module, which goes underneath the 3 coil packs here and all the wires. So I have to pull all that off. Pretty straightforward. I think it's 8mm, 6 bolts. Take the ignition coils off, pull the wires off, unplug 2 or 3 harnesses. The ICM comes right out. I got one of those that was only a few dollars. Hopefully it works. The Lumina is a real nice shape. You could tell it was a grandma's car. What a shame. But I'm guessing, hey, how's it going, Kev? I'm guessing the part is good. If it's not, I can, throw in the trash for a few dollars. I'll take the chance. All right, so I have the Lumina belt tensioner and serpentine belt on. I was a little worried at first because the bolt that goes into the side of the engine block, I took it with me, thank God, from the junkyard. The bolt size was actually different than the one that came out of this engine. However, so I used the Lumina bolt with the Lumina belt tensioner. You can kind of see it down there. It fits perfectly and the belt lines up perfectly. So obviously it's not an issue, but I don't know why the bolt's different. Maybe it's not as thick, the belt tensioner this came with, but regardless, it works. I figured it would. It's GM. They're famous for their parts bin design. Now I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna label the wires before I pull them off so I don't get the order incorrect when I put them back on. Take off the ignition coils, put in the ICM from the Lumina. Again, I'm guessing it's going to be the same one. And from there, hopefully this thing will fire up. All right, so you can see here is the ICM that was in the car, the ignition control module. Already unplugged one of the harnesses and I took the 3 ignition coils off. I marked everything. 1, 2, 3, and with the wires 1 through 6, just in the order, counting left to right. I know it's not the way a mechanic would label it, I suppose, but it works for me. Here we have the old ICM. Now, obviously, I'm not sure if this is good or bad, if this is the real problem. And some people might say, oh, it takes 2 seconds. Just get this multimeter and tap it to this and tap it to that. Well, I don't know. I like the mystery, I guess, just throwing a part in it and see if it works. So if it's no good, if it's not the problem, I'm not that worried about it. So it looks like we have a match, which is good because this came out of a different vehicle with the same engine. They look identical, so I shouldn't have any issues there. Matter of fact, I better take the one that I just I got from the junkyard before I get them confused, because they're both dirty and they look the same. But I'm going to throw this bad boy in, hook everything back up, and we'll see if that did it. All right, I had to run over to my shop and get a battery, but I put the ICM in, reconnected all the wires. I had them marked, so it was no issue knowing the order. Same with the ignition coils, just threw the battery in. Remember, I put the serpentine belt and the belt tensioner on, which the old one was broken. So I'm not that optimistic that it's going to start, to be honest. It seems too good to be true if it were to do that. But you got to start with these OBD1 cars with the small, cheap, easy fixes and parts. And if that doesn't do it, you go from there. So it was worth a try. I hope that other door is unlocked, because the way I put this car in here, I can't get the door open. Cautiously optimistic that this will start. But again, not expecting it to. At least I can eliminate. Well, granted, that could also be another bad ICM, but I doubt it. Then again, these are a pretty common failure item in these cars, so I don't think it's the ignition coils, because it should still run. It should just run like garbage. I can't imagine all three would have failed. Let's see what happens. Oh, that's what I'm talking about! Woo! That's what I'm talking about, baby. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Look at her run. Woo! She runs like a top. Would you believe it? An ICM, a belt tensioner, boom bang. She's running, baby. Woo! Yeah! I don't believe it. First time hearing this thing run. The free Cutlass Ciera wagon runs for $20 a parts. Boom! Yeah! Finally, something goes my way. That's what I'm talking about. Listen to that baby purr. Unbelievable. Isn't it great when it's something simple? I love it. She's running. Woo! Oh yeah! She runs, baby. All right, beautiful. Well, after a few seconds, I heard what sounded like a lifter tap tick, and it didn't sound too good. It didn't sound terrible either, but made me shut the engine down just to be on the safe side. And if you look, we have, as is no surprise in an L82, what appears to be failed intake gaskets, because that is not how oil should look or the height the oil should be. You can see it's very milky, so we've obviously got coolant leaking into the engine. So a short victory of only a few seconds there before discovering a bigger issue, but the wagon was free, so certainly can't complain. Any free vehicle, you should expect to have to put some money into it, or any cheap vehicle, really. But we know it runs. The engine's not seized. Hopefully it wasn't ran for too long like this with all this coolant mixture in the oil. So that's where we're at. Obviously, I need to take care of the intake gaskets on this, which is a bit of a pain in the neck, but not awful. Certainly easier than my supercharged Bonneville I have to do. I got to pull the blower off and stuff like that, but needs intake gaskets, and she will hopefully be running well. And then we still need to figure out what's going on with the transmission. So it's the next day, and I'm really curious to see what the oil looks like when I drain it out of the Ciera wagon. I also want to be able to actually drive this thing around for at least a few minutes and see what's going on with the transmission. If you remember, the gentleman that I got this from for free told me that the transmission was only working in third gear. I want to see if that's still the case, or exactly what's going on. Do we have reverse, etc.? Hopefully we have reverse. Well, I really won't need it right now, but I don't want to drive this thing or run this thing any longer with the milky oil. I don't know what's going on, how much coolant or water is in that oil. However, I do need to start it one more time just to get it up on the ramps. I pushed it back this far just to, mitigate and get this as ready as I can and just start it, drive up on the ramp, shut it off. But I don't have any help here to push it up on the ramps, and I'm not going to be doing that. I guess I could use my jack and jack stands, but let's just drive her up real quick. It'll only take a minute, and then I'll drain the oil out and we'll see what's going on. All right, I figure I'll film it just in case the engine blows up. The reason I'm doing all this is I want to change the oil, like I was saying, be able to drive this around for a few minutes, see how the transmission is, see how the engine is. If they're both tired and shot and beyond repair, at least reasonable repair, I know it's time to yank out this drivetrain, maybe supercharge 3800, swap it, or if everything seems pretty good, do some minor repairs and be back on the roads. Drives forward fine, didn't seem like it was stuck in third gear. It got right up there, no problem. You'd think if it was stuck in third, it would have really had a tough time doing that incline, but it went right up there, no issue. You heard that kind of ticking, knocking when I first started it. Now that could be obviously because this really hasn't been ran much in the past year or two, and or it could just be the fact that there's water in the oil, but fortunately it went away pretty quickly. Here we are underneath the Cutlass Ciera, and one thing that I noticed that, well, I shouldn't get too optimistic, but that is positive, is if you look around all the oil leaks around the oil pan, forgive the camera, just rolling in my creeper here, but if you look at the oil leaks around the oil pan, there is no mixture showing, at least in the leaks. Now, usually when you have a vehicle that's just got the engine full of coolant or water, the leaks will look similar underneath the car. They'll look that white milky mixture. I had a Malibu Max, some of you may remember I got from the auction last year, that had, it was actually turned out to be leaking intake gaskets on that. I thought I had a blown head gasket because I sold it to my buddy George. He sold it to a buddy and who was a mechanic who fixed it in literally 20 minutes. He just slid the old gasket out. I guess it's real easy in those, and slid a new one in, and he daily drives it now. So I don't know if I have my camera on or not, but you can see, I think I had it off, but it's been nothing but pudding, milky mixture coming out of here since I pulled the drain plug out, which is not good. Not what I was hoping to see. I was hoping to see maybe a quick little bit of white and the rest oil, but it has been nothing but mixture since I pulled the drain plug out, and it's almost done draining now. So we'll also be able to see when I take the filter out, but not what I was hoping to see. I'm a little concerned about this engine. I'm not sure how long it was ran this way. I mean, it takes quite a bit of time to get this much water mixture inside your engine if it is a coolant leak into the engine intake gaskets or blown head gasket. That being said, it is certainly possible that this was maybe sabotage, this car. I got it from a guy who is a car dealer. Maybe he had a customer that wasn't so happy. Sorry, I keep flipping the camera. I got flies attacking me. It's terrible. Mosquitoes or something, but maybe somebody was pissed off, dumped a bunch of water in the engine. I mean, to be honest, this seems way overfilled because this has been coming out for a lot longer than one of these oil pans normally drains. You can just see. But hopefully that was the case, and hopefully it wasn't ran that way, because this thing hasn't ran in a few years. I don't think he had any reason to lie to me, Brian, about this car, because he was giving it to me for free. I'm sure he would have told me if it had a blown head gasket or leaking intake gaskets, unless he didn't know. But I mean, he's no idiot. He looked the car over when he bought it. He bought it on Craigslist. He thought it had a bad transmission. It may have these stupid flies. It may have a bad transmission, but I think he would have noticed this, and he literally brought it back to his shop and parked it. So I don't know how this all this coolant could have leaked into the engine unless somebody poured water in. So whatever it may be, there's nothing we can do about it at this point but change the oil and hope for the best. So I'm going to keep draining this out. Nasty, nasty mixture coming out of there. Pull the filter out next. Let you guys get a look at that. If these flies don't carry me out of here, what in the hell? I got this stupid light. That's why they're coming over here. All right, I'll roll the camera back in a minute when I pull the filter. Yikes! It's not what you want to see when you take off your oil filter. I don't know how this thing still runs. Look at that. Unbelievable. Like I said, maybe this thing was sabotage, because I just don't know how Brian could have missed this. And I'm not mad. Like, again, this was a free car. This engine could have been blown. or it could just be shot as it is. We'll find out. But I'm not mad at Brian at all. It leads me to think maybe someone sabotaged this thing, because for this much coolant mixture to be in the oil, for this thing still to run and not knock and stuff, it seems crazy. But we'll find out once I throw a fresh filter on and get the oil cleaned out how she runs. Wow, unbelievable. So I went through several bottles of oil, 5-quart bottles, just like I do with my Alante when I brought that back from the dead. When it was a flood vehicle, there was all kinds of water and mud in the engine. And one of the things I did to get the water out was drain and fill the oil several times. You know, drain it out, put the drain plug back in, pour in 5 quarts, pull it out until it finally started coming out like oil, not like a watery mixture. And that's what I've done with this vehicle. It's, I'd say, 90% oil coming out, still a little milky-ish. I mean, not even milky, but you can tell obviously it's not just straight oil coming out, and it's almost impossible to get it all out unless you run the engine a little bit. You know, when it's, in this case, I feel it's safe to do so. I've ran enough oil through the crankcase here. I also added in some sea foam right into the crankcase. I don't know where I put the bottle, but that helps according to the bottle. I happen to have it sitting around, and according to the bottle, that helps remove water and moisture and other garbage from the engine if you add it directly to the crankcase. So I added the correct amount of that based on how many quarts this engine takes. She's filled up with fresh oil. She's got a new oil filter on her. I'm hoping that nothing catastrophic happens, but again, at this point, this is what I have to do to continue cleaning out this engine. I spilled a ton of oil at one point because I kept dumping jugs in, and I was just being a little careless, and I spilled a bunch. It's going to probably have to burn off of the manifold. I tried to clean up as much as I could. Hopefully this thing doesn't burn to the ground. That'd be unfortunate. All right, here we go. Let's see what she's going to do. I'd expect some engine noise at first because obviously it's got no oil in the filter. I put a little bit in there pre-filter, but figured that was the least of my worries with this car. Yikes. Oh, that racket was. Hopefully that was just a loose exhaust shield or something. What do you think? All right. The main reason for all this was to check the transmission. Let's see if we got any smoke coming out the tailpipe. What the hell is the tailpipe? Got no smoke coming out the tailpipe, nor a misfire of any kind. Check engine lights on. I think this car is OBD1. I don't remember the year of it, to be honest. If it's a 96, and obviously it's OBD2. We've got reverse, I think, right? Oh, no, we don't. Waiting for it to, like, slam into gear. All right, so we definitely do have a transmission problem. So we have no reverse. I have to keep that in mind. I don't want to get stuck anywhere. Now I get the real interesting issue here. I gotta push this thing off. Definitely low on power steering fluid. I should have had some, I should have dumped it in there, but it'll be fine for a quick drive. I don't know if that's my engine or what. Yikes. Ooh boy, that don't sound good, huh? That's gotta be the engine. And she is stuck in one gear. So he wasn't wrong about that. This drivetrain may be toast in this car. With the engine sounding that way and the transmission acting this way, no reverse, stuck in third, I think we're gonna end up pulling this drivetrain and putting something else in. Okay. Just hoping the thing makes it back to my house. Not good. Yikes, huh? Doesn't sound too good. Ooh, we don't like that noise. And the car's got me trapped inside. What the bloody hell is that about? This car is like... Now the damn cars want to let me out. Get me the heck. I can't get out of the car. There we go. Alright, so it's been a few weeks since I took those clips you just watched of me wrenching on and diagnosing the wagon. You can see I no longer have a carport. I tore it down. It was very structurally unsafe. It was about to fall over and obviously didn't want it to fall on my vehicle, so I tore it down. Going to be building a garage in its place, but since I haven't had a covered space to work underneath, I've been less motivated to work on the wagon here. Now, I do have my shop down the street, but getting this over there would be a whole other adventure. Now, what you did not see in those previous clips is that the same night where I thought the engine was making all kinds of ruckus and I thought I was doomed, I discovered that it was not the engine. It was actually a noise coming from the flywheel. At least I suspect. I know for sure it's not the engine, because if I put this thing in neutral and I rev the hell out of the engine, that noise is not there whatsoever. And I also did the old screwdriver to the ear test all over the engine, on the oil pan, on the head, on the valve covers, everywhere I could possibly put it, and the noise was not there. It was not coming from there. It's coming from the flywheel, and I know because I came down here with it running, and I'll do so again in a moment, although for some reason I swear I have either I've put on some weight in the past few weeks, or I don't know what else, because I have way less room down here than I did the last time being underneath the vehicle. But flywheel's right around here. I put my ear right to that area. Unmistakably, the noise was coming from there. All right, battery in. I'm going to start it up and I'll take you underneath and you can hear exactly where the noise is coming from. It won't be as easy on camera to be able to tell exactly where the noise is coming from, but what I really want to show you is the whole neutral, no noise, any other gear noise. I haven't started this in a while, in at least a week, so we'll see what she does. All right, so you hear the noise, right? Reverse, which is basically neutral, it's gone. And listen, I rev the engine, there is no noise whatsoever. I put it in neutral, oh, it comes back. So it was reverse where the noise was not there at all, because now it's a neutral. Now watch. I put it in reverse, immediately it goes away. See? Neutral. Reverse, gone. G-O-N-E. Put it in drive. Well, I won't be able to do that, I'm up on ramps, but the noise is still gonna be there. You saw me driving around earlier in the video. So it's only reverse. The noise goes away completely. And it comes, I'm not going to climb underneath the car again, especially now that it's been running, so we're dripping oil on me, but it's coming from the flywheel area where you can see the flywheel spinning around. It's coming right from there, almost as if it is the flywheel making the noise. Let me know what you think and what I need to do from here, And once I read your responses, I'll start digging back into this thing and we'll get on to the next part. Thanks for watching. Keep an eye out for the next one.